Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my wife, Victoria. She's been wonderful support throughout my career, even though she's never really understood the business world. Completely financially dependent, but that's fine. Someone has to manage the household while the real earners handle serious matters. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The conference room fell silent as Marcus delivered his casual dismissal of my capabilities to 60 of his colleagues and industry leaders. I stood beside the champagne table, watching him bask in congratulations for his promotion to senior vice president at Whitmore and Associates, the architectural firm where he had spent the last 8 years building what he believed was his empire. What Marcus did not know, as he accepted handshakes and praised his own business acumen, was that I had just signed the final documents to acquire 73% controlling interest in his company. The papers were in my purse, along with a carefully prepared announcement that would transform his celebration into my revelation. "Since we're making introductions," I said, stepping forward with the envelope that would change everything. "Perhaps I should mention that I've just become your new majority shareholder." The journey to that moment began 7 years earlier, when Marcus first suggested that I should leave my position as a financial analyst at Morrison Securities to focus on what he called supporting our future together. His promotion to project manager had come with a substantial salary increase, and he painted a compelling picture of domestic harmony where his career advancement would provide financial security while I managed our personal life. At 28, I was already recognized as one of the most promising analysts in Morrison's investment division. My specialty was evaluating small to mid-sized companies for acquisition potential, and my track record for identifying undervalued assets had generated millions in profits for our clients. However, Marcus presented convincing arguments about the demands of his architectural career and the importance of having a stable home foundation for the ambitious future he envisioned. The decision to leave Morrison Securities felt like a reasonable compromise at the time. Marcus was genuinely building an impressive career, and his income was sufficient to maintain our comfortable lifestyle, while I explored other professional interests. I had always been intrigued by real estate investment, and leaving traditional employment would provide the flexibility to pursue property development projects that might prove more lucrative than salary-based work. What I failed to anticipate was how quickly Marcus would begin characterizing my career change as retirement, rather than strategic redirection. Within months of leaving Morrison, he started referring to me as his support system, rather than his partner, subtly repositioning our relationship dynamic in ways that minimized my professional capabilities and financial contributions. The transformation was gradual, but systematic. When friends inquired about my work, Marcus would answer on my behalf, explaining that I was taking time to focus on our home and personal projects. When business colleagues mentioned investment opportunities or financial strategies, he would politely redirect conversations away from topics where my expertise might become apparent. More concerning was how he began handling our joint financial decisions. Initially, we had maintained collaborative approaches to major purchases and investment choices, with both of us contributing analysis and perspectives to important decisions. However, as his income increased and his professional confidence grew, Marcus gradually assumed sole responsibility for financial planning and strategic decision-making. This shift became most apparent during our first real estate purchase discussion. We were considering buying a larger home in an upscale neighborhood, and I had conducted comprehensive market analysis to identify properties with strong appreciation potential. My research included demographic trends, infrastructure development, plans, school district quality assessments, and comparative pricing analysis across multiple neighborhoods. When I presented my findings to Marcus, complete with detailed financial projections and risk assessments, his response revealed the fundamental change in how he viewed our partnership. Rather than engaging with the analysis or challenging specific assumptions, he dismissed the entire presentation as unnecessarily complicated, and suggested that we should focus on finding a nice house in a good area, rather than overthinking the investment angles. The dismissal was particularly frustrating because my analysis had identified a specific property that was significantly undervalued due to cosmetic issues that could be resolved through strategic renovation. The house was priced 30% below comparable properties in the same neighborhood, and my financial modeling showed that targeted improvements could generate substantial equity gains within 2 years. Marcus refused to consider the opportunity, explaining that he preferred to buy move-in-ready properties rather than dealing with renovation complexities. His decision cost us approximately $200,000 in potential equity gains, as the property was purchased by investors who implemented exactly the improvements I had recommended and sold the house 18 months later for a profit that matched my projections. This experience established a pattern that would define our relationship for the next several years. Marcus consistently underestimated my analytical capabilities while making financial decisions that reflected limited strategic thinking and poor market understanding. His approach to major purchases was emotional rather than analytical, focusing on immediate comfort rather than long-term value creation. The pattern extended beyond real estate to encompass all aspects of our financial life. When discussing retirement planning, Marcus would explain complex investment concepts to me as if I had never encountered basic financial principles. When reviewing our tax strategy, he would summarize professional advice in simplified terms that demonstrated his assumption that I could not understand the underlying concepts. Most frustrating was his habit of describing my former career in diminished terms when the subject arose in social situations. My 8 years as a financial analyst became some experience with numbers, and my successful track record in investment evaluation was characterized as helping clients with their accounts. These descriptions were not merely modest, but actively inaccurate, creating impressions that my professional background was clerical rather than analytical. The systematic minimization of my capabilities created a public perception that I was indeed financially dependent and professionally inexperienced. Marcus's colleagues and friends began treating me as someone who needed financial concepts explained in basic terms, and social conversations about business or investment topics would typically exclude me or address me in condescending ways. However, what Marcus and his associates failed to understand was that leaving traditional employment had actually expanded rather than limited my financial capabilities. Without the constraints of corporate compliance requirements and client obligations, I was free to pursue investment strategies that were more aggressive and potentially more profitable than anything possible within traditional financial services. My first independent investment project involved purchasing a small apartment building that was being sold due to estate settlement. The property was located in a gentrifying neighborhood where demographic trends suggested significant appreciation potential, but the building required substantial renovations that had discouraged most potential buyers. Using skills developed during my years at Morrison Securities, I conducted comprehensive due diligence that included structural engineering assessments, local zoning regulation analysis, demographic trend research, and competitive rental market evaluation. The analysis revealed that strategic improvements could increase rental income by 60%, while positioning the property for substantial appreciation as neighborhood development continued. The investment required significant capital, which I obtained through a combination of personal savings and strategic financing arrangements. Rather than discussing the project with Marcus, who had already demonstrated skepticism about real estate investment opportunities, I managed the entire acquisition and renovation process independently. The project's success exceeded my most optimistic projections. Rental income increases actually reached 75% above original levels, and the property's appraised value increased by 40% within 18 months. The investment generated returns that exceeded anything I had achieved during my corporate career, while providing valuable experience in property development and management. More importantly, The success demonstrated that my analytical skills and market understanding remained sharp despite my absence from traditional employment. The project required exactly the type of complex financial analysis and strategic planning that had made me successful at Morrison Securities, applied to real estate investment rather than corporate securities evaluation. The apartment building project became the foundation for a broader investment strategy that would eventually encompass multiple properties and diverse asset classes. However, I made a strategic decision to maintain discretion about these activities rather than attempting to educate Marcus about my investment portfolio development. This decision reflected both practical considerations and relationship preservation priorities. Marcus had already established patterns of dismissing my financial analysis and investment recommendations, and attempting to involve him in my projects would likely result in conflict and interference rather than collaboration and support. More importantly, I recognized that Marcus's professional identity had become increasingly dependent on his role as the primary financial decision-maker in our relationship. Challenging this identity through demonstration of independent financial success might threaten his sense of competence and control in ways that could damage our marriage. Therefore, I developed parallel investment activities that operated independently of our joint financial planning, while ensuring that my projects never compromised our shared financial security or lifestyle commitments. This approach allowed me to pursue ambitious wealth-building strategies while maintaining domestic harmony and supporting Marcus's career advancement. Over the following 3 years, my real estate investment portfolio expanded to include 12 properties across 4 different market segments. Each acquisition was carefully researched and strategically financed, utilizing increasingly sophisticated investment structures and partnership arrangements with other experienced investors. The portfolio's performance consistently exceeded market averages, generating substantial cash flow and equity appreciation that accumulated into significant personal wealth. However, Marcus remained completely unaware of these activities, viewing my time away from home as involvement in unspecified personal projects rather than serious business development. This discretion proved prescient as Marcus's career advancement accelerated, and his sense of financial superiority became more pronounced. His promotions at Whitmore and Associates were accompanied by increasingly dismissive comments about my lack of real-world business experience and my fortunate position of being financially supported while pursuing hobbies and interests. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The irony was profound but remained hidden. While Marcus celebrated his corporate advancement and growing salary, my investment activities were generating returns that exceeded his annual income. While he explained financial concepts to me in condescending terms, I was structuring complex real estate transactions and managing diversified investment portfolios that required sophisticated analytical capabilities. The foundation of his underestimation had become the source of my empowerment, but the full revelation of this transformation would wait for the perfect moment to demonstrate how completely he had misjudged both my capabilities and my achievements. By the time Marcus received his promotion to senior vice president, my investment portfolio had generated sufficient wealth to pursue opportunities that he could never imagine. The financial independence he believed I lacked had become the foundation for business ventures that would soon reshape his understanding of our relationship dynamic in the most dramatic possible way. The announcement at his promotion party would reveal not just my financial success, but the systematic blindness that had prevented him from recognizing the transformation occurring alongside his own career advancement. His casual dismissal of my capabilities would become the perfect introduction to a demonstration of exactly how wrong his assumptions had been. The stage was set for a revelation that would prove that the most dangerous position for any leader is believing they understand everything about the people around them, especially when those people have been systematically underestimated and overlooked. Marcus was about to learn that financial dependence is not determined by employment status, and that real business acumen often operates in places where traditional corporate thinking never thinks to look. The foundation of underestimation had created the perfect conditions for surprise, and the moment of truth was finally approaching when Marcus would discover just how much he had failed to understand about the woman he believed he knew completely. The transformation from corporate financial analyst to independent real estate investor required capabilities that Marcus consistently failed to recognize, despite witnessing their application in our daily life. While he celebrated incremental salary increases and corporate recognition, I was developing investment strategies that would eventually generate wealth exceeding anything possible through traditional employment advancement. The decision to maintain complete discretion about my business activities proved crucial for both strategic and psychological reasons. Marcus had established clear patterns of dismissing my financial analysis and investment recommendations, making collaboration impossible without constant conflict and interference. More importantly, his professional identity had become dependent on his role as our family's primary income generator and financial decision-maker. My second major investment project demonstrated the sophisticated analytical approach I was developing, outside traditional corporate constraints. The opportunity involved a mixed-use commercial property in downtown Hartford that was being sold due to ownership disputes among multiple heirs. The complexity of the legal situation had discouraged conventional investors, but my analysis revealed substantial value creation potential. The property included ground-floor retail space that was significantly underutilized due to poor tenant selection and inadequate property management. The upper floors contained office space that was largely vacant because previous ownership had failed to modernize building systems or address deferred maintenance issues. However, the location was exceptional, positioned directly across from a major transit development project that would transform neighborhood accessibility within 2 years. My due diligence process required expertise across multiple disciplines that I had developed through systematic self-education and professional networking. I engaged structural engineers to assess renovation requirements, reviewed city planning documents to understand zoning flexibility, analyzed demographic trends to project tenant demand, and evaluated comparable properties to establish realistic valuation benchmarks. The analysis revealed that strategic improvements could increase the property's net operating income by over 100%, while positioning it for substantial appreciation as the transit project enhanced neighborhood desirability. However, the investment required sophisticated financing arrangements that exceeded what traditional mortgage products could provide. Working with commercial lending specialists I had met through real estate investment associations, I structured a financing package that combined conventional debt with private investor partnerships and seller financing arrangements. The complexity of these negotiations required exactly the type of analytical rigor and strategic thinking that had made me successful at Morrison Securities. The renovation project itself became an intensive education in construction management, tenant relations, and commercial property operations. I coordinated multiple contractor teams, negotiated lease agreements with diverse tenant types, and implemented property management systems that maximized operational efficiency while minimizing ongoing maintenance costs. The results exceeded my most ambitious projections. Retail space that had generated minimal income under previous ownership was transformed into highly desirable locations that commanded premium rents from established businesses. Office space that had remained vacant for years was converted into modern work environments that attracted growing companies seeking professional addresses in improving neighborhoods. Within 18 months, the property's appraised value had increased by 67%, while monthly net income had more than doubled through strategic tenant placement and operational improvements. The investment generated returns that vindicated my analytical approach while providing capital for subsequent projects. More significantly, the project established my reputation within Hartford's commercial real estate community as an investor capable of identifying and executing complex value creation opportunities. Other property owners began approaching me with investment proposals, recognizing my ability to see potential where conventional investors saw only problems. This recognition led to my third major project, which involved acquiring a portfolio of distressed residential properties that were being sold by a regional bank following foreclosure proceedings. The portfolio included 17 single-family homes and small apartment buildings across 3 different neighborhoods, each requiring varying degrees of renovation and strategic repositioning. The complexity of analyzing 17 separate properties simultaneously required systematic approaches that drew heavily on my corporate finance background. I developed comprehensive spreadsheet models that tracked renovation costs, rental income projections, appreciation estimates, and return calculations for each individual property while providing portfolio-level performance analysis. The analytical framework enabled me to identify which properties offered the highest return potential and prioritize renovation investments accordingly. Properties in rapidly gentrifying areas received substantial improvements that positioned them for premium rental rates and significant appreciation. Properties in stable neighborhoods received targeted upgrades that optimized rental income while maintaining reasonable investment levels. The financing structure for this portfolio acquisition required even more sophisticated arrangements than my previous projects. I established relationships with multiple private lenders who specialized in residential investment properties, negotiated bulk purchase discounts with the selling bank, and coordinated renovation financing that aligned improvement timelines with tenant placement strategies. Managing 17 properties simultaneously provided intensive experience in residential property management, tenant relations, and maintenance coordination. I implemented systematic approaches to tenant screening, lease administration, maintenance scheduling, and financial reporting that enabled efficient operations across the entire portfolio. The project's success established me as a significant player in Hartford's residential investment market. Property values across the portfolio increased by an average of 43% within 2 years, while rental income exceeded projections by 15% due to strategic positioning and superior property management. By this point, my real estate investment activities were generating monthly cash flow that exceeded Marcus's salary, while accumulated equity provided a foundation for pursuing even larger opportunities. However, Marcus remained completely unaware of these achievements, continuing to view my time away from home as involvement in unspecified personal interests. The irony of this situation became more pronounced as Marcus's own career advancement accelerated. His promotion to senior project manager at Whitmore & Associates came with increased responsibilities for major commercial projects, and his professional confidence grew accordingly. However, his success also intensified his tendency to dismiss my capabilities and minimize my potential contributions to financial decision-making. This dynamic was particularly evident during discussions about our personal financial planning. Marcus would explain investment concepts and market dynamics to me as if I were encountering these ideas for the first time, despite my sophisticated understanding of financial markets and investment strategies. When I attempted to contribute insights based on my extensive real estate experience, he would politely redirect conversations toward topics he considered more appropriate for my level of understanding. The condescension was consistent and systematic, extending beyond financial topics to encompass broader business discussions. When Marcus's colleagues visited our home, conversations about commercial development projects or market trends would typically exclude me or include me only through simplified explanations that assumed I lacked relevant knowledge or experience. These social interactions were particularly frustrating because many of the topics being discussed related directly to areas where I had developed substantial expertise through my investment activities. Discussions about neighborhood development, trends, commercial property values, or construction management challenges frequently covered ground where my practical experience exceeded that of the participating corporate professionals. However, revealing my knowledge during these conversations would have required explaining my investment activities, which could potentially create conflict with Marcus and disrupt the carefully maintained separation between my business projects and our domestic life. Therefore, I maintained the role of interested observer, while internally analyzing the conversations and sometimes identifying significant errors in the participants' assumptions or conclusions. This dynamic reinforced my commitment to discretion about my business activities while building confidence in my analytical capabilities relative to Marcus's professional circle. The corporate professionals who dismissed my potential contributions were often demonstrating less sophisticated understanding of real estate markets and investment dynamics than I had developed through practical experience. My fourth major investment project represented a significant escalation in scope and complexity, involving the acquisition of a small commercial development company that was struggling due to poor financial management and limited access to capital. The opportunity arose through networking relationships I had developed within the real estate investment community. The company, Bristol Development Partners, had an excellent reputation for construction quality and project management, but lacked the financial expertise and capital resources necessary for growth. The founder, Robert Bristol, was a skilled contractor and project manager who had successfully completed numerous small commercial projects but struggled with financial planning and investment structuring. My analysis revealed that Bristol Development had substantial value creation potential if provided with adequate capital and sophisticated financial management. The company's project pipeline included several attractive development opportunities that could generate significant returns with proper execution, but Robert lacked the financial resources and analytical capabilities necessary to maximize these opportunities. I proposed a partnership arrangement that would provide Bristol Development with capital investment and financial management expertise in exchange for equity participation and operational control over strategic decision-making. The structure allowed Robert to maintain his role as construction manager and project leader, while I assumed responsibility for financial planning, investment analysis, and growth strategy development. The partnership immediately enabled Bristol Development to pursue larger and more profitable projects than had been possible under previous resource constraints. My financial analysis capabilities allowed us to identify development opportunities with superior return potential, while my capital resources enabled aggressive pursuit of time-sensitive acquisitions. Our first collaborative project involved developing a small office complex in West Hartford that was designed to attract growing technology companies seeking modern workspace in suburban locations. My market analysis had identified strong demand for this type of facility, while Robert's construction expertise enabled us to deliver superior quality at competitive costs. The project's success established Bristol Development as a recognized player in Hartford's commercial development market, while generating substantial returns for my investment. More importantly, the experience provided comprehensive education in commercial development processes, construction management, and project financing that expanded my capabilities beyond pure real estate investment. The partnership with Bristol Development also created opportunities to pursue larger projects that required more sophisticated financing and regulatory navigation. We began developing relationships with institutional investors, government development, agencies, and major commercial tenants that positioned us for substantial growth opportunities. During this period, Marcus's career advancement continued at Whitmore & Associates, where his responsibilities expanded to include oversight of major commercial projects across Connecticut. His professional confidence reached new heights as he managed increasingly complex architectural assignments and developed relationships with prominent clients and industry leaders. However, Marcus's growing professional success also intensified. His tendency to view himself as the expert on all business and financial matters within our relationship. His explanations of commercial development processes became more detailed and condescending, despite my growing expertise in exactly these areas through my partnership with Bristol Development. The disconnect between Marcus's assumptions about my capabilities and my actual business achievements was becoming increasingly surreal. While he explained basic concepts about commercial real estate development, I was actively managing development projects that exceeded the scope and complexity of many assignments he handled at Whitmore & Associates. This situation created internal tension that I managed through continued focus on building my business portfolio while maintaining domestic harmony. Marcus's condescension was frustrating, but confronting it directly would require revealing my business activities and potentially disrupting both our personal relationship and my strategic business development. Instead, I channeled this frustration into motivation for pursuing even more ambitious projects that would eventually enable a comprehensive demonstration of my capabilities. Each dismissive comment or condescending explanation became additional motivation for building business success that would ultimately speak for itself in ways that could not be minimized or dismissed. By the end of my 4th year of independent business development, my real estate portfolio included over 30 properties generating substantial monthly cash flow. While my partnership with Bristol Development had established me as a significant player in Hartford's commercial development market, the combined value of these business activities exceeded Marcus's lifetime earnings at Whitmore & Associates, yet he remained completely unaware of my achievements. The foundation was being established for the ultimate revelation that would transform Marcus's understanding of our relationship dynamic while demonstrating the dangers of systematic underestimation. The business empire I was building in secret would soon provide the perfect platform for showing him exactly how wrong his assumptions about my capabilities had been. The opportunity to acquire Whitmore & Associates emerged through the convergence of market intelligence, strategic networking, and analytical capabilities that Marcus had consistently underestimated. While he celebrated his promotion to senior vice president and prepared for his advancement celebration, I was conducting comprehensive due diligence on his employer as a potential acquisition target for my expanding business portfolio. The initial insight regarding Whitmore & Associates' vulnerability came during a commercial real estate investment conference, where I had been invited to speak about successful property development strategies. My reputation within Hartford's investment community had grown substantially through the success of my real estate portfolio and partnership with Bristol Development, leading to recognition as an expert in value creation through strategic asset repositioning. During the conference networking sessions, I encountered Patricia Morrison, a mergers and acquisitions specialist who had recently completed an analysis of Connecticut's architectural services market for an institutional investor client. Our conversation revealed significant information about consolidation trends within the industry and specific vulnerabilities affecting mid-sized firms like Whitmore & Associates. Patricia's analysis indicated that architectural firms with 50 to 200 employees were experiencing increasing pressure from both larger corporate competitors and smaller boutique practices. The larger firms could offer comprehensive services and absorb project risks that challenged mid-sized practices, while smaller firms could provide personalized attention and competitive pricing that attracted certain client segments. Mid-sized firms like Whitmore & Associates occupied an increasingly difficult competitive position, lacking the resources to compete with major corporate practices while being too large to offer the agility and cost advantages of smaller firms. This market position created strategic vulnerabilities that could become critical during economic downturns or shifts in client preferences. Patricia's research also revealed specific financial challenges affecting Whitmore & Associates that were not apparent from Marcus's enthusiastic reports about the firm's success and his own advancement within the organization. The company's revenue growth had stagnated over the past 3 years, while operational costs had increased due to expansion efforts that had not generated corresponding returns. More significantly, Whitmore & Associates was facing increasing competition for major commercial projects from larger firms with superior resources and established relationships with institutional clients. The firm's client base was heavily concentrated in Connecticut markets, creating vulnerability to regional economic fluctuations that more geographically diversified competitors could better absorb. The financial intelligence Patricia provided suggested that Whitmore & Associates might be receptive to acquisition discussions if approached by investors who could provide capital for growth initiatives while maintaining operational independence for existing management. This acquisition model had become increasingly common in professional services, industries as smaller firms sought resources to compete effectively against larger corporate competitors. Following this conversation, I initiated comprehensive research into Whitmore & Associates' financial condition, market position, and strategic vulnerabilities. This analysis required sophisticated investigation techniques that drew heavily on my experience evaluating companies for acquisition potential during my tenure at Morrison Securities. The research process began with analysis of publicly available information, including project announcements, industry recognition, client testimonials, and regulatory filings that provided insights into the firm's operational scope and financial performance. This foundation research revealed patterns that supported Patricia's assessment regarding the firm's competitive challenges. Whitmore & Associates' project portfolio showed increasing concentration in smaller commercial assignments, suggesting difficulty competing for major institutional projects that offered higher margins and longer-term client relationships. The firm's marketing materials emphasized experience and client service rather than innovation or cutting-edge capabilities, indicating positioning as a reliable but not necessarily forward-thinking practice. Industry publications revealed that several of Whitmore & Associates' major competitors had secured significant projects that the firm had reportedly pursued unsuccessfully. This pattern suggested systematic competitive disadvantages that could reflect resource limitations, relationship gaps, or strategic positioning problems. Through my networking relationships within Hartford's commercial development community, I gathered additional intelligence about Whitmore & Associates' market reputation and competitive standing. These conversations revealed that while the firm was respected for project execution and client relations, it was not considered a leader in design innovation or strategic market development. Several developers mentioned that Whitmore & Associates had struggled to adapt to changing client preferences for sustainable design and technology integration, areas where younger firms and larger corporate practices had gained competitive advantages. This technological lag suggested potential operational inefficiencies and strategic vulnerabilities that acquisition could address. The intelligence-gathering process also revealed specific information about Whitmore & Associates' financial structure and ownership arrangements. The firm was privately held by 3 founding partners who had built the practice over 25 years, but were approaching retirement age. This ownership structure created potential succession planning challenges that could motivate acquisition discussions. Industry contacts suggested that the founding partners were increasingly concerned about maintaining the firm's competitive position while ensuring financial security for their eventual retirement. These concerns had reportedly led to preliminary discussions with business advisors about strategic alternatives, including potential partnerships or acquisition arrangements. Armed with this market intelligence, I engaged Patricia Morrison to conduct a formal acquisition feasibility analysis that would provide comprehensive assessment of Whitmore & Associates as an investment opportunity. This analysis would determine whether the firm could be acquired at reasonable valuations while offering sufficient value creation potential to justify the investment. Patricia's preliminary assessment confirmed that Whitmore & Associates represented an attractive acquisition, target for investors with appropriate strategic vision and operational expertise. The firm's established client relationships and project execution capabilities provided stable foundation revenue, while operational improvements and strategic repositioning could generate substantial value increases. The financial analysis revealed that Whitmore & Associates' current valuation reflected the competitive challenges and growth limitations that were constraining its market performance. However, strategic improvements in technology adoption, market positioning, and operational efficiency could increase the firm's value by 60 to 80% within 3 years. More importantly, Patricia's analysis indicated that Whitmore & Associates' founding partners would likely be receptive to acquisition discussions if approached by investors who demonstrated understanding of architectural services markets and commitment to maintaining the firm's professional reputation and client relationships. The acquisition feasibility analysis provided the foundation for developing a comprehensive investment strategy that would enable me to purchase controlling interest in Whitmore & Associates while positioning the firm for substantial growth and Value creation. This strategy would demonstrate capabilities that Marcus had never recognized while providing the platform for the ultimate revelation of my business acumen. The investment approach required sophisticated financing arrangements that combined my accumulated real estate wealth with strategic borrowing and investor partnerships. My real estate portfolio had generated sufficient equity to provide substantial down payment resources, while my business relationships provided access to acquisition financing that could fund the remaining purchase requirements. Working with Patricia and her mergers and acquisitions team, I developed a financing structure that would enable acquisition of 73% controlling interest in Whitmore and Associates without requiring liquidation of my existing real estate investments. This approach preserved my diversified investment portfolio while adding architectural services to my business holdings. The financing arrangement included participation by two institutional investors who specialized in professional services, acquisitions. These partners provided additional capital while bringing operational expertise that would support post-acquisition improvements and growth initiatives. My role in the acquisition structure was designed to provide operational control, while leveraging partner expertise in areas where I needed additional capabilities. The institutional investors would focus on technology upgrades and operational efficiency improvements, while I would lead strategic repositioning and market development initiatives. The acquisition planning process required detailed analysis of post-purchase integration strategies that would maximize value creation while minimizing disruption to existing operations. This planning drew heavily on my experience with real estate acquisitions and development projects, adapted to address the unique characteristics of professional services businesses. The integration strategy emphasized maintaining continuity for existing clients and staff, while implementing improvements that would enhance competitive positioning and operational efficiency. Key initiatives included technology modernization, market expansion, sustainable design capability development, and strategic partnership formation with complementary service providers. Financial projections indicated that these improvements could increase Whitmore and Associates' revenue by 40% within 2 years, while improving profit margins through operational efficiency gains. The combination of revenue growth and margin improvement would generate returns that exceeded my real estate investment performance. More importantly, the acquisition would demonstrate business capabilities that extended far beyond real estate investment to encompass sophisticated corporate strategy and operational management. This expansion would establish me as a diversified business owner rather than simply a successful property investor. The due diligence process required several months of detailed analysis that I conducted with complete discretion to avoid alerting Marcus or other Whitmore and Associates personnel about potential acquisition discussions. This investigation provided comprehensive understanding of the firm's operations, competitive position, and value creation opportunities. The analysis confirmed that Whitmore and Associates represented an excellent acquisition opportunity that aligned perfectly with my capabilities and strategic objectives. The firm's established market position provided stable foundation revenue, while identified improvement opportunities offered substantial value creation potential. Throughout this analysis period, Marcus continued his enthusiastic reports about the firm's success and his own advancement prospects, completely unaware that his wife was evaluating his employer as an acquisition target. His descriptions of internal operations and strategic challenges actually provided valuable intelligence that supported my investment analysis. The irony of this situation was profound and increasingly amusing. While Marcus explained basic business concepts to me in condescending terms, I was conducting sophisticated acquisition analysis that exceeded the strategic thinking typically applied to decisions at his level within the organization. His casual dismissals of my business understanding became increasingly surreal as I developed comprehensive knowledge about his company's operations, competitive challenges, and strategic opportunities. The gap between his assumptions about my capabilities and my actual business activities had become almost comical. However, this disconnect also provided strategic advantages for my acquisition planning. Marcus's complete lack of awareness about my business capabilities meant that he would never suspect potential acquisition activity, enabling me to complete due diligence and negotiation processes without any risk of information leakage. The final phase of acquisition planning involved developing negotiation strategies and legal structures that would enable successful completion of the purchase while positioning the firm for optimal post-acquisition performance. This planning required coordination between multiple professional advisors and careful timing to ensure strategic success. By the time Marcus received his promotion to Senior Vice President and began planning his advancement celebration, I had completed comprehensive acquisition analysis and initiated preliminary discussions with Whitmore and Associates founding partners. The stage was set for the ultimate demonstration of capabilities that Marcus had consistently underestimated. The promotion party that Marcus viewed as celebration of his career achievement would become the venue for revealing how completely he had misjudged both my business acumen and my financial independence. His moment of professional triumph would transform into my moment of strategic revelation. The acquisition negotiations with Whitmore and Associates required sophisticated diplomatic skills and strategic patience that Marcus had never witnessed during our domestic interactions. While he prepared presentations for his promotion celebration and explained architectural industry dynamics to me in simplified terms, I was conducting complex business negotiations that would fundamentally alter his professional reality. The initial contact with Whitmore and Associates founding partners was orchestrated through Patricia Morrison's professional network to ensure appropriate introduction protocols and maintain negotiation leverage. Rather than approaching the firm directly as an unknown investor, I was positioned as a successful business owner with proven track record in strategic acquisitions and value creation initiatives. The three founding partners, William Whitmore, Robert Associates, and David Chen, had built their practice over 25 years into Connecticut's most respected mid-sized architectural firm. However, their approaching retirement created succession planning challenges that conventional solutions could not adequately address. None of their children had pursued architectural careers, and existing senior staff lacked the capital resources necessary for ownership transition. My preliminary discussions with the partners revealed sophisticated professionals who understood their firm's strategic challenges while maintaining realistic expectations about market conditions and competitive dynamics. They recognized that independent mid-sized practices faced increasing pressure from larger corporate competitors and needed strategic alternatives to ensure long-term viability. William Whitmore, the senior founding partner, expressed particular concern about maintaining the firm's professional reputation and client relationships during any ownership transition. His primary objective was ensuring that potential acquirers would preserve the quality standards and service commitments that had built the firm's market position over 2 decades. Robert Associates focused on operational continuity and staff retention, emphasizing the importance of maintaining employment security for the firm's 68 employees. His analysis indicated that many architectural practices had experienced significant staff turnover following acquisitions, creating service disruptions that damaged client relationships and operational effectiveness. David Chen, who served as the firm's chief financial officer, provided comprehensive analysis of the company's financial position and strategic challenges. His presentation confirmed the market intelligence I had gathered regarding revenue stagnation, competitive pressures, and capital requirements for necessary technology upgrades and market expansion initiatives. The financial information David presented validated my preliminary valuation analysis while revealing additional value creation opportunities that had not been apparent from external research. The firm's client concentration in certain market segments created diversification opportunities, while operational inefficiencies suggested margin improvement potential through strategic management enhancements. My response to their presentation demonstrated business sophistication that surprised the founding partners and established credibility for serious acquisition discussions. drawing on my experience with complex real estate transactions and corporate analysis background. I presented strategic vision that addressed their concerns while outlining specific value creation initiatives. The strategic plan I proposed emphasized preserving the firm's professional culture and client relationships while implementing improvements that would enhance competitive positioning and financial performance. This approach differentiated my acquisition proposal from purely financial transactions that might prioritize short-term returns over long-term sustainability. My operational enhancement strategy included technology modernization initiatives that would improve design capabilities and project efficiency without disrupting established workflows or client service standards. These improvements would be implemented gradually with extensive staff training and change management support to ensure smooth transitions. The market expansion component addressed the firm's geographic concentration by developing capabilities in emerging markets, where demographic trends and economic development suggested strong demand for architectural services. This expansion would be pursued through strategic partnerships and selective hiring rather than risky geographical relocations. Financial projections in my presentation demonstrated how these improvements could increase revenue by 45% within 3 years, while improving profit margins through operational efficiency gains and higher value service offerings. The analysis included detailed implementation timelines and investment requirements that reflected realistic assessment of change management challenges. More importantly, my proposal addressed succession planning concerns by offering the founding partners continued involvement in strategic decision-making through advisory roles that would preserve their influence while enabling gradual transition to new ownership structure. This arrangement provided professional satisfaction and financial security that pure retirement alternatives could not match. The negotiation discussions revealed that my business capabilities exceeded the partners' initial expectations for potential acquirers. Most previous inquiries had come from larger architectural firms seeking to acquire client lists and talented staff, or from financial investors focused primarily on cost reduction and profit maximization strategies. My approach demonstrated understanding of professional services business dynamics combined with strategic vision for sustainable growth and value creation. The partners recognized that my acquisition proposal offered optimal balance between preserving their professional legacy and achieving their financial objectives for retirement planning. However, the negotiation process also required addressing concerns about my background and experience in architectural services management. While my real estate investment success demonstrated relevant business capabilities, the partners needed assurance that I could effectively lead a professional services organization with different operational requirements and client relationship dynamics. My response to these concerns drew on extensive research I had conducted regarding professional services management best practices and industry trends affecting architectural practices. This preparation enabled detailed discussions about talent, retention strategies, client relationship management, technology adoption, and market positioning that demonstrated sophisticated understanding of their business challenges. The conversations also benefited from insights I had gained through my partnership with Bristol Development, which had provided practical experience working with architectural professionals and understanding their project management approaches and client service standards. This background enabled credible discussion of operational integration strategies and performance improvement initiatives. Throughout the negotiation process, I maintained complete confidentiality regarding my relationship with Marcus to avoid potential conflicts of interest or complications that might affect the acquisition discussions. The partners were unaware that one of their senior employees was married to the potential acquirer, which preserved negotiation objectivity while preventing Marcus from learning about the potential transaction. This discretion required careful management of my schedule and communication to ensure that Marcus remained unaware of my extensive meetings and due diligence activities. I presented these commitments as related to my real estate investment projects, which provided plausible explanation for the time requirements without revealing the specific nature of my acquisition activities. The due diligence phase required comprehensive analysis of Whitmore and Associates operations, financial performance, client relationships, and competitive positioning. This investigation provided detailed understanding of the firm's strengths and challenges while identifying specific opportunities for post-acquisition value creation. The financial due diligence revealed that the firm's revenue concentration in certain client segments created both stability and vulnerability, with 3 major clients representing 42% of annual revenue. While these relationships provided predictable income streams, client concentration created strategic risk that diversification efforts would need to address. Operational analysis identified several efficiency improvement opportunities that could reduce project costs while enhancing service quality. The firm's project management systems were adequate but not optimized, creating opportunities for technology upgrades and process improvements that could increase profitability without affecting client satisfaction. The talent assessment revealed exceptional capabilities among senior staff members who had developed strong client relationships and technical expertise, but lacked opportunities for ownership participation or significant career advancement within the existing structure. My acquisition proposal could provide these professionals with expanded responsibilities and financial incentives that would improve retention while enhancing operational effectiveness. Market analysis confirmed that Whitmore and Associates occupied a strong competitive position within Connecticut's architectural services sector, but faced challenges expanding beyond regional markets due to resource limitations and relationship gaps. Strategic initiatives could address these constraints while building platform for sustainable growth. The comprehensive due diligence process validated my preliminary assessment that Whitmore and Associates represented an excellent acquisition opportunity with substantial value creation potential. The firm's established market position provided stable foundation revenue, while identified improvement opportunities offered attractive returns on strategic investments. The final negotiation phase required developing transaction structures that satisfied the founding partners' financial objectives, while providing me with operational control necessary for implementing value creation initiatives. This balance required sophisticated legal and financial arrangements that addressed multiple stakeholder interests. The purchase price negotiation reflected fair market valuation based on comparable transactions and financial performance analysis, with total consideration of $12.8 million for 73% controlling interest. This valuation provided the partners with appropriate financial returns, while enabling me to acquire operational control at reasonable cost relative to anticipated value creation potential. The financing structure combined my accumulated investment capital with strategic borrowing and institutional investor participation that provided necessary resources without requiring liquidation of my real estate portfolio. This approach preserved my investment diversification while adding architectural services to my business holdings. The transaction timeline was structured to enable completion before Marcus's promotion celebration, creating optimal timing for the dramatic revelation that would transform his understanding of my business capabilities. The final closing was scheduled for the morning of his advancement party, ensuring that all legal requirements would be satisfied before my planned announcement. Throughout the negotiation process, I maintained focus on building positive relationships with the founding partners and key employees who would become my colleagues following the acquisition. This investment in relationship development would prove crucial for successful post-acquisition integration and long-term operational effectiveness. The complexity and sophistication of these negotiations demonstrated business capabilities that extended far beyond Marcus's comprehension of my potential contributions to strategic decision-making. While he continued explaining basic business concepts to me in condescending terms, I was successfully completing corporate acquisition transactions that exceeded anything in his professional experience. The approaching completion of the Whitmore and Associates acquisition represented the culmination of strategic planning and capability development that had begun years earlier with my first real estate investment. The business empire I had built, in secret was about to provide the perfect platform for demonstrating exactly how wrong Marcus's assumptions about my abilities had been. The final weeks before Marcus's promotion celebration required meticulous coordination of legal documentation, financial transfers, and strategic communications that would enable the dramatic revelation of my acquisition success. While Marcus focused on preparing his advancement speech and coordinating party logistics, I was orchestrating the completion of the most significant business transaction of my career. The closing process for Whitmore & Associates demanded precise attention to regulatory requirements, financial compliance standards, and legal documentation that reflected the complexity of acquiring a professional services firm. Each component of the transaction required careful review and coordination with multiple legal and financial advisors to ensure complete accuracy and regulatory compliance. The legal documentation process involved comprehensive contracts that addressed ownership transfer, operational control, employee retention, client relationship protection, and founding partner transition arrangements. These agreements required sophisticated legal expertise that I had developed through my real estate investment experience, adapted to address the unique requirements of professional services acquisitions. My legal team, led by corporate attorney Jennifer Walsh, provided exceptional guidance throughout the documentation process, while ensuring that all regulatory requirements were satisfied according to Connecticut state business regulations and professional licensing standards. The complexity of these requirements demanded careful attention to detail that demonstrated the sophisticated legal knowledge necessary for successful business acquisitions. The financial closing procedures required coordination between multiple banking institutions, investment partners, and regulatory agencies to ensure proper fund transfers and compliance with federal financial reporting requirements. The transaction value exceeded regulatory thresholds that triggered additional documentation and verification procedures that needed completion before final closing. My relationship with Hartford Commercial Bank proved crucial during this phase, as their corporate banking team provided expertise in complex transaction processing and regulatory compliance that enabled smooth completion of all financial requirements. The bank's confidence in my business capabilities reflected the reputation I had built through years of successful real estate investments and commercial development projects. The institutional investor partnerships that provided acquisition financing demonstrated remarkable confidence in my strategic vision and operational capabilities. These sophisticated financial organizations had conducted comprehensive due diligence regarding my business background and investment track record before committing capital to support the Whitmore & Associates acquisition. Their participation validated my business approach while providing additional credibility with the founding partners and regulatory agencies involved in the transaction approval process. The institutional investor's reputation and financial strength enhanced the overall transaction structure while demonstrating the professional quality of my acquisition team. Throughout these final preparation weeks, Marcus remained completely unaware of the comprehensive business activity occurring alongside his promotion planning. His focus on advancement celebration details and his continuing condescending explanations of business concepts created increasingly surreal contrast with the sophisticated corporate transaction I was completing. The irony reached peak levels. During dinner conversations where Marcus would explain commercial real estate principles or corporate finance concepts, while I reviewed acquisition documents and coordinated million-dollar financial transfers through secure communication channels. His assumption that I lacked business understanding had become almost comical given the complexity of my actual business activities. However, maintaining this discretion required careful management of my schedule and communications to prevent Marcus from discovering any evidence of the acquisition process. I presented my extensive meetings and document review sessions as related to expanding my real estate investment portfolio, which provided plausible explanation for increased business activity without revealing the specific nature of my corporate acquisition. The final due diligence phase required comprehensive verification of all aspects of Whitmore & Associates operations, financial performance, and regulatory compliance. This process provided detailed understanding of the firm's strengths and challenges while confirming the value creation opportunities that had motivated my acquisition interest. The operational due diligence revealed exceptional talent among the firm's senior architects and project managers, who had developed strong client relationships and technical expertise, but lacked opportunities for meaningful career advancement within the existing ownership structure. My acquisition would provide these professionals with expanded responsibilities and financial incentives that would enhance retention while improving operational effectiveness. The financial verification confirmed that Whitmore & Associates' revenue and profitability metrics aligned with projections I had developed during the preliminary analysis phase. The firm's financial performance demonstrated consistency and stability that validated my investment thesis while providing foundation for the growth initiatives I plan to implement following acquisition completion. The client relationship analysis revealed strong satisfaction levels and loyalty patterns that suggested minimal risk of client departures following ownership transition. Several major clients specifically expressed enthusiasm about potential improvements in service, capabilities, and technology adoption that new ownership might enable. The technology assessment identified significant opportunities for modernization that would enhance design capabilities, improve project efficiency, and strengthen competitive positioning against larger corporate practices. These improvements represented substantial value creation potential that could be realized through strategic investment in advanced design software and project management systems. The final closing meeting required careful coordination of multiple parties, including the founding partners, legal representatives, financial advisors, and regulatory officials who needed to approve various aspects of the transaction. The complexity of this coordination demonstrated the sophisticated business management capabilities that Marcus had consistently underestimated. The closing ceremony itself represented a remarkable achievement that few individuals could successfully navigate without extensive business experience and professional expertise. The legal documentation alone required understanding of complex corporate structures, regulatory requirements, and financial arrangements that exceeded the knowledge base of most business professionals. My successful completion of this acquisition process validated years of strategic planning and capability development, while providing definitive proof of business acumen that could no longer be dismissed or minimized. The transaction represented objective evidence of sophisticated analytical skills, strategic thinking, and execution capabilities that Marcus had never recognized. The timing of the final closing was coordinated to occur on the morning of Marcus's promotion celebration, ensuring that all legal requirements would be satisfied and ownership transfer completed before the evening event. This scheduling enabled the dramatic revelation that would transform his moment of professional triumph into my demonstration of superior business achievement. The morning of the closing ceremony, I reviewed comprehensive preparations for the evening's revelation while ensuring that all acquisition documentation was properly organized and accessible for presentation purposes. The physical evidence of my business success would provide undeniable validation of capabilities that Marcus had systematically dismissed throughout our marriage. The final transaction documents included not only the purchase agreements and ownership transfer certificates, but also strategic plans for operational improvements and growth initiatives that demonstrated sophisticated understanding of business development and value creation strategies. These materials would serve as tangible proof of my business expertise during the evening's dramatic presentation. The financial documentation revealed the substantial personal wealth I had accumulated through real estate investments and business development activities that had enabled the Whitmore & Associates acquisition without external financing requirements. This financial independence directly contradicted Marcus's characterization of me as financially dependent and demonstrated the profound error in his assessment of my capabilities. The preparation process also included developing communication strategies for presenting my acquisition announcement in ways that would maximize impact while maintaining professional dignity and relationship preservation where possible. The revelation needed to demonstrate my business success without creating unnecessary personal conflict or professional embarrassment for Marcus beyond the natural consequences of his own misconceptions. The strategic approach emphasized factual presentation of business achievements rather than emotional confrontation or personal criticism. This professional approach would demonstrate maturity and business sophistication, while allowing the objective evidence to speak for itself regarding the systematic underestimation I had experienced. However, the magnitude of Marcus's error in judgment regarding my capabilities required comprehensive revelation that would eliminate any possibility of minimization or rationalization. The evidence needed to be overwhelming and undeniable to ensure that the lesson regarding the dangers of systematic underestimation would be completely understood. The morning closing ceremony proceeded smoothly, with all parties expressing satisfaction. Regarding the transaction structure and completion process, the founding partners expressed particular appreciation for my professional approach and strategic vision, noting that the acquisition represented optimal resolution of their succession planning challenges while preserving their professional legacy. The successful completion of the Whitmore & Associates acquisition marked the culmination of years of strategic planning and business development that had transformed me from dismissed spouse into accomplished business owner. The achievement represented validation of capabilities that Marcus had never recognized, while providing platform for the most dramatic professional revelation of my career. As I prepared for the evening celebration, the contrast between Marcus's perception of my role and my actual business achievements had reached extraordinary levels. While he prepared to introduce me as his financially dependent wife who lacked business understanding, I possessed documentation proving that I had just acquired controlling interest in his employer through sophisticated corporate transaction that exceeded anything in his professional experience. The stage was set for a revelation that would fundamentally alter not only Marcus's understanding of my capabilities, but also his perception of our relationship dynamic and his own position within the business community. He believed he understood so well. The evening would demonstrate the profound dangers of systematic underestimation while providing a masterclass in strategic patience and comprehensive preparation. The evening of Marcus's promotion celebration arrived with perfect timing that aligned my acquisition completion with his moment of professional triumph. The venue selected for the event, Hartford's prestigious Riverfront Club, reflected the significance Marcus attached to his advancement within Whitmore & Associates, and his desire to showcase his professional success to colleagues and industry leaders. The guest list included senior partners from competing architectural firms, major commercial developers, municipal planning officials, and prominent business leaders who represented the professional network Marcus had cultivated throughout his career. This gathering would provide optimal audience for demonstrating the extraordinary gap between his perception of my capabilities and my actual business achievements. My preparation for the evening included careful selection of professional attire that would convey appropriate business credibility during the revelation process. The navy blue designer suit I chose projected executive presence while remaining conservative enough to maintain focus on my announcement, rather than creating unnecessary distraction through obvious luxury displays. The acquisition documentation I carried in my briefcase represented comprehensive evidence of business sophistication that would eliminate any possibility of minimizing or dismissing my achievements. The legal papers, financial statements, and strategic planning documents provided objective proof of capabilities that Marcus had systematically underestimated throughout our marriage. The psychological preparation for this revelation required careful consideration of timing, presentation, approach, and audience management to ensure maximum impact while maintaining professional dignity throughout the process. The goal was demonstrating business excellence rather than creating personal humiliation, though the natural consequences of Marcus's misconceptions would inevitably generate significant embarrassment. As we arrived at the Riverfront Club, Marcus expressed enthusiasm about introducing me to his professional colleagues and sharing his career advancement celebration with the broader architectural community. His excitement about showcasing his success created poignant contrast with his complete unawareness that the evening would demonstrate my superior business achievements. The reception period provided opportunity to observe Marcus's interactions with colleagues and assess the audience that would witness the upcoming revelation. The conversations revealed consistent patterns of condescension and dismissal regarding female participation in serious business discussions, suggesting that the evening's demonstration would provide valuable education for multiple attendees beyond Marcus himself. The architectural professionals gathered for the celebration demonstrated remarkable uniformity in their assumptions about traditional gender roles and business capabilities. Their casual dismissal of female contributions to strategic discussions reflected systematic biases that extended far beyond Marcus's individual misconceptions about my potential. Several conversations during the cocktail reception involved detailed discussions of commercial development projects, market trends, and industry challenges where my expertise through real estate investment and commercial development activities exceeded that of many participants. However, these discussions typically excluded me or included me only through simplified explanations that assumed I lacked relevant knowledge. The irony of these interactions was extraordinary, as several attendees were discussing projects and market dynamics where I possessed superior practical experience through my investment portfolio and Bristol Development Partnership. Their assumptions about my limited business understanding prevented them from recognizing the expertise present within their immediate vicinity. The formal program began with welcoming remarks from William Whitmore, the senior founding partner, whose company I had acquired that morning. His introduction of Marcus as a valued senior vice president who had contributed significantly to the firm's success over the past 8 years created additional dramatic tension regarding the revelation that would follow. William's comments about Marcus's dedication, professionalism, and strategic thinking capabilities provided context that would make the subsequent demonstration of my business achievements even more impactful. The praise being directed toward Marcus would soon be overshadowed by evidence of accomplishments that exceeded anything in his professional experience. The presentation of Marcus's promotion announcement included detailed description of his new responsibilities, expanded authority, and increased compensation that reflected Whitmore and Associates' confidence in his continued contributions to firm success. This recognition represented the professional validation that Marcus had been pursuing throughout his architectural career. However, the celebration of Marcus's advancement also provided perfect setup for revealing the fundamental transformation in our relative professional positions that his promotion would never overcome. While he had achieved incremental career progression within an organization, I had achieved ownership of that organization through strategic business development that demonstrated superior analytical and execution capabilities. The dinner portion of the celebration enabled additional observation of professional dynamics and relationship patterns that would be affected by the upcoming revelation. The seating arrangements reflected hierarchical positioning within Hartford's architectural community, with Marcus positioned among senior professionals who would witness his transformation from celebration honoree to employee of his previously underestimated wife. The dinner conversations reinforced patterns of systematic underestimation regarding female business capabilities that extended throughout the architectural and development communities represented at the celebration. These biases created additional motivation for comprehensive demonstration of business excellence that would challenge fundamental assumptions about professional competence in gender roles. The networking during dinner also revealed specific information about market dynamics and competitive challenges affecting Whitmore and Associates that would inform my post-acquisition strategic planning. The insights gained through these conversations would prove valuable for implementing operational improvements and growth initiatives following the revelation. The formal program resumed after dinner with Marcus's acceptance speech, which provided comprehensive overview of his career development, professional achievements, and gratitude toward colleagues who had supported his advancement within Whitmore and Associates. His presentation reflected genuine pride in his accomplishments while demonstrating complete unawareness of the dramatic revelation that would follow. Marcus's speech included specific recognition of my support throughout his career. Progression, describing my role in terms that emphasized domestic assistance rather than professional partnership. His characterization of my contributions reflected the systematic minimization of my capabilities that had motivated the strategic business development leading to this evening's revelation. The culmination of Marcus's presentation included introduction of me to the assembled guests, with description that would soon prove remarkably ironic given the actual nature of my business achievements. His explanation of my role as supportive spouse who managed domestic responsibilities while remaining removed from serious business matters created perfect setup for the dramatic correction that would follow. Marcus's specific statement that I was completely financially dependent while lacking understanding of the business world represented the ultimate expression of misconceptions that my revelation would comprehensively address. His casual dismissal of my capabilities in front of 60 industry professionals would be immediately contradicted by evidence of business success that exceeded his own professional achievements. The moment of revelation arrived as Marcus concluded his speech and invited questions from the audience. The transition from his presentation to my announcement would provide stark contrast between his incremental career advancement and my transformative business acquisition that had occurred that same morning. My approach to the presentation platform required careful management of emotional composure and professional presence to ensure optimal delivery of the revelation that would transform the evening's dynamic. The acquisition documentation in my briefcase represented comprehensive evidence that would eliminate any possibility of questioning or minimizing my business achievements. The opening statement of my presentation acknowledged Marcus's career accomplishments while establishing the foundation for revealing information that would provide completely different perspective on our relative professional positions. The respectful tone reflected genuine appreciation for his dedication while preparing the audience for dramatic new information. The revelation of my Whitmore & Associates acquisition began with presentation of the legal documentation that had been completed that morning, providing objective evidence of the transaction that could not be disputed or minimized. The certificates of ownership transfer and corporate control documents demonstrated conclusively that I had purchased controlling interest in Marcus's employer. The financial documentation revealed the substantial personal wealth that had enabled the acquisition without external financing requirements, directly contradicting Marcus's characterization of me as financially dependent. The evidence of my real estate investment portfolio and commercial development activities provided comprehensive proof of business capabilities that had remained hidden throughout our marriage. The strategic planning documents for post-acquisition improvements demonstrated sophisticated understanding of architectural services markets and operational enhancement strategies that exceeded the analytical capabilities typically demonstrated by senior professionals within the industry. This evidence established my business expertise as superior to most attendees at the celebration. The institutional investor partnerships that had supported my acquisition provided additional validation of my business reputation and strategic capabilities within Hartford's investment community. These relationships demonstrated recognition of my professional competence by sophisticated financial organizations that specialized in evaluating business opportunities and management capabilities. The reaction of the assembled guests progressed through stages of disbelief, amazement, and grudging recognition as the comprehensive evidence of my business achievements became undeniable. The transformation of the evening from Marcus's career celebration into demonstration of my superior business success created profound impact on all attendees. Marcus's personal reaction reflected complete shock and disorientation as he processed the revelation that his professionally dismissed wife had acquired his employer through sophisticated business transaction that exceeded anything in his own experience. His assumptions about our relative capabilities and financial positions had been completely overturned through objective evidence that could not be rationalized or minimized. The founding partners' response to the revelation demonstrated their satisfaction with the acquisition arrangement, while confirming their confidence in my strategic vision and operational capabilities. Their public endorsement of my business approach provided additional validation that reinforced the legitimacy of my achievements. The broader audience reaction reflected recognition that they had witnessed extraordinary demonstration of business excellence, combined with strategic patience that had enabled comprehensive reversal of assumed professional dynamics. The evening would be remembered as masterclass in the dangers of systematic underestimation and the power of sustained strategic development. The conclusion of my presentation emphasized that the acquisition represented beginning rather than culmination of my business development plans, with additional growth initiatives and strategic partnerships planned to enhance Whitmore & Associates' competitive positioning and market expansion. This forward-looking perspective demonstrated that my business capabilities extended beyond single transaction success to encompass comprehensive strategic vision. The transformation of Marcus's promotion celebration into my business revelation provided profound demonstration of how systematic underestimation can create opportunities for dramatic empowerment when met with strategic preparation and sustained excellence. The evening established new foundation for understanding professional competence that extended far beyond traditional assumptions about gender roles and business capabilities. The silence that followed my acquisition announcement stretched across the Riverfront Club's elegant dining room like a suspended breath, broken only by the distant sound of traffic along the Hartford waterfront and the soft clinking of abandoned champagne glasses on linen-covered tables. 60 of Connecticut's most prominent architectural and development professionals sat motionless, processing the complete reversal of assumptions that had governed their understanding of professional dynamics and gender roles within their industry. Marcus remained frozen at the podium where moments earlier he had basked in congratulations for his promotion to senior vice president, his prepared closing remarks forgotten as he grappled with the reality that his previously dismissed wife had just revealed herself as his new employer. The transformation from celebrant to employee occurred in the span of a single presentation, demonstrating how quickly professional hierarchies can shift when fundamental assumptions prove incorrect. The immediate reactions varied considerably across the assembled guests, reflecting different levels of professional sophistication and personal security regarding their own assumptions about business competence. The younger professionals appeared more adaptable to the revelation, perhaps due to generational differences in attitudes toward female business leadership, while several senior executives struggled visibly with cognitive dissonance between their preconceptions and the objective evidence I had presented. William Whitmore's response demonstrated remarkable grace under pressure as he navigated the delicate situation of explaining to colleagues why he had sold controlling interest in his firm to someone they had consistently dismissed as professionally inexperienced. His public endorsement of my strategic vision and operational capabilities provided crucial validation that prevented attempts to minimize or rationalize my business achievements. The senior founding partner's statement emphasized that my acquisition proposal had represented optimal resolution of succession planning challenges while ensuring preservation of the firm's professional reputation and client relationships. His detailed explanation of my comprehensive business background and proven track record in value creation initiatives helped establish credibility with audience members who had never considered my potential capabilities. Robert Associates and David Chen joined William in expressing confidence regarding my leadership transition and strategic planning for the firm's continued growth and market development. Their united endorsement demonstrated that my acquisition had satisfied the founding partners' concerns about operational continuity and professional standards while providing financial security for their retirement planning. The institutional investors who had participated in financing my acquisition were represented at the celebration by Patricia Morrison, whose presence added additional credibility to my business credentials. Her explanation of the sophisticated due diligence process and strategic analysis that had supported the investment decision provided context that reinforced the legitimacy of my professional capabilities. Patricia's presentation emphasized that my acquisition of Whitmore and Associates represented strategic expansion of a diversified business portfolio that included substantial real estate investments and commercial development activities. This broader context helped audience members understand that the architectural firm acquisition was not an isolated transaction, but part of comprehensive business development strategy. The revelation also generated immediate interest from several attending business leaders who recognized potential opportunities for collaboration and strategic partnerships with my expanded business operations. The networking conversations that followed my presentation reflected genuine professional respect rather than the condescending interactions that had characterized earlier evening discussions. Marcus's eventual recovery from initial shock enabled him to participate in conversations about transition planning and operational continuity, though his demeanor reflected profound disorientation regarding his transformed professional position. The man who had spent years explaining business concepts to me in simplified terms now faced the reality of reporting to someone whose analytical capabilities exceeded his own. The evening's remaining activities proceeded with significantly altered dynamics as guests processed the implications of what they had witnessed regarding assumptions about professional competence and business leadership. The conversations reflected genuine introspection about systematic biases that had prevented recognition of capabilities present within their professional community. Several attendees approached me privately to acknowledge their previous misconceptions, while expressing admiration for the strategic patience and comprehensive preparation that had enabled such dramatic professional transformation. These conversations provided validation of the broader educational value of the evening's demonstration beyond personal vindication. The drive home with Marcus occurred in contemplative silence, as both of us processed the fundamental shift in our relationship dynamic that the revelation had created. The man who had characterized me as financially dependent that morning now understood that my business achievements provided financial independence that exceeded his own earning potential. The following days required careful management of internal communications at Whitmore and Associates to ensure smooth leadership transition while maintaining operational effectiveness and client confidence. My first priority involved meetings with key employees to explain the acquisition rationale and outline strategic initiatives for enhancing the firm's competitive positioning and growth prospects. The senior architects and project managers demonstrated remarkable professionalism in adapting to new ownership structure, while expressing appreciation for opportunities that my leadership would provide for career advancement and professional development. Their positive response reflected recognition that my business capabilities could benefit their own professional objectives. The client communication strategy emphasized continuity of service quality and project management, while introducing strategic enhancements that would improve design capabilities and operational efficiency. The response from major clients reflected confidence in the transition arrangement and enthusiasm about potential improvements in service delivery. The operational assessment revealed immediate opportunities for technology upgrades and process improvements that could enhance productivity while reducing project costs. These initiatives would demonstrate the value creation potential that had motivated my acquisition interest while providing tangible benefits for employees and clients. The strategic planning process for post-acquisition improvements drew heavily on my experience with real estate investment and commercial development to identify opportunities that architectural professionals might overlook. The cross-industry perspective enabled innovative approaches to market expansion and service diversification that could differentiate Whitmore and Associates from traditional competitors. The first strategic initiative involved establishing formal partnerships with my existing real estate development activities, creating integrated service offerings that could provide comprehensive project management from initial planning through construction completion. This vertical integration would enhance competitive advantages while generating additional revenue streams. The Technology Modernization Program represented substantial investment in advanced design software and project management systems that would enable more sophisticated client presentations and streamlined operational processes. These improvements would position Whitmore and Associates as technology leader within Connecticut's architectural services market. The market expansion strategy focused on geographic diversification beyond Connecticut through strategic partnerships and selective hiring in target markets, where demographic trends suggested strong demand for architectural services. This expansion would reduce revenue concentration risks while building platform for sustainable long-term growth. The employee development program included enhanced training opportunities, performance-based advancement paths, and financial incentives that would improve retention while attracting exceptional talent from competing firms. These initiatives would strengthen operational capabilities while building reputation as preferred employer within the architectural profession. The financial management improvements involved implementing sophisticated budgeting and performance tracking systems that would enhance project profitability analysis and strategic decision-making capabilities. These enhancements would provide management information necessary for optimizing operational efficiency and identifying growth opportunities. Marcus's adaptation to his transformed professional position required significant psychological adjustment as he processed the reversal of assumed competence hierarchies within our relationship. The transition from explaining business concepts to receiving strategic direction represented fundamental change in his professional identity and self-perception. However, his architectural expertise and client relationship management capabilities remained valuable assets that would contribute to the firm's continued success under new ownership. My leadership approach emphasized leveraging existing strengths while implementing improvements that would enhance overall organizational effectiveness. The broader industry response to my acquisition reflected recognition that traditional assumptions about business leadership and professional competence required reconsideration in light of changing market dynamics and evolving talent pools. The demonstration provided valuable education regarding the dangers of systematic underestimation within professional communities. The media coverage of the acquisition emphasized the strategic vision and comprehensive planning that had enabled successful completion of such complex business transaction. The analysis focused on operational improvements and growth initiatives rather than personal dynamics, reflecting professional recognition of my business capabilities. The financial markets response indicated confidence in my leadership capabilities and strategic planning for Whitmore and Associates' continued development. The valuation metrics suggested that investors recognized substantial value creation potential under new management direction. The networking opportunities generated by the acquisition's publicity created access to additional business development prospects and strategic partnerships that could support continued expansion of my diversified business portfolio. The enhanced professional reputation provided foundation for pursuing larger and more complex investment opportunities. The employee feedback during the initial weeks following acquisition reflected appreciation for improved communication, strategic clarity, and professional development opportunities that my leadership provided. The positive internal response validated my approach to organizational management and change implementation. The client retention analysis indicated minimal risk of relationship disruption following ownership transition with several major clients, expressing enthusiasm about strategic improvements and enhanced service capabilities. This stability provided foundation for implementing growth initiatives without compromising existing revenue streams. The competitive analysis revealed that my acquisition had created immediate differentiation advantages within Hartford's architectural services market through enhanced resource capabilities and strategic vision. The combination of architectural expertise with real estate development experience provided unique value proposition for clients seeking comprehensive project solutions. The transformation of my professional position from dismissed spouse to business owner demonstrated how systematic preparation and strategic patience can create opportunities for dramatic empowerment when combined with sustained excellence and comprehensive capability development. The success provided inspiration while offering practical guidance for others, facing similar challenges with systematic underestimation. The first quarter following my acquisition of Whitmore and Associates required systematic implementation of strategic initiatives that would demonstrate the value creation potential underlying my investment thesis. The comprehensive transformation program addressed technology modernization, operational efficiency improvements, market expansion opportunities, and organizational culture enhancement to position the firm for sustainable competitive advantage within Connecticut's architectural services sector. The Technology Modernization Initiative represented the most visible component of my strategic improvement program, requiring substantial capital investment in advanced design software systems and integrated project management platforms that would enhance both creative capabilities and operational efficiency. The existing technology infrastructure had become inadequate for competing against larger corporate practices that possessed superior computational resources and presentation capabilities. The implementation process required coordination between multiple software vendors, hardware suppliers, and training organizations to ensure seamless integration of new systems while maintaining operational continuity during the transition period. The complexity of this coordination demanded sophisticated project management capabilities that drew heavily on my experience with large-scale real estate development initiatives. The new design software provided architectural teams with advanced three-dimensional modeling capabilities, virtual reality presentation tools, and automated code compliance verification systems that significantly enhanced both design quality and client presentation effectiveness. These technological advantages would enable Whitmore and Associates to compete successfully for larger commercial projects that had previously been dominated by corporate practices with superior technical resources. The project management system integration created comprehensive workflow tracking and resource allocation capabilities that would improve project profitability analysis while providing clients with real-time progress updates and budget monitoring. This transparency would differentiate our service delivery approach while enabling more effective internal resource management. The training program for technology adoption required extensive coordination with software vendors and external consultants to ensure that all professional staff developed proficiency with new systems without disrupting ongoing project commitments. The investment in comprehensive training reflected understanding that technology advantages depend entirely on user competence and system integration effectiveness. The operational efficiency improvements focused on process standardization and workflow optimization that would reduce project delivery timelines while maintaining quality standards that had established Whitmore and Associates' reputation for excellence. The analysis revealed significant opportunities for eliminating redundant activities and improving communication coordination between project teams. The standardization initiative involved developing comprehensive project management protocols that would ensure consistent service delivery across all client engagements while providing flexibility for customization based on specific project requirements. These protocols drew on best practices from successful projects while incorporating innovations that would enhance competitive positioning. The workflow optimization analysis identified bottlenecks in design review processes and client communication, procedures that were creating unnecessary delays and increasing project costs. The solutions involved restructuring approval hierarchies and implementing digital collaboration tools that would streamline decision-making while improving stakeholder coordination. The quality assurance enhancements included systematic peer review processes and client feedback integration mechanisms that would ensure continuous improvement in service delivery while maintaining the high professional standards that distinguished Whitmore and Associates from competitors focused primarily on cost reduction strategies. The market expansion strategy represented the most ambitious component of my strategic development program, requiring comprehensive analysis of growth opportunities in adjacent geographic markets and complementary service sectors. The goal involved diversifying revenue sources while building platform for sustainable long-term expansion beyond Connecticut's architectural services market. The geographic expansion analysis identified specific metropolitan areas where demographic trends and economic development patterns suggested strong demand for architectural services from firms with proven track records in commercial and institutional projects. The target markets included Hartford's neighboring regions and selective opportunities in Massachusetts and New York, where market entry barriers remained manageable. The expansion methodology emphasized strategic partnerships with established, local firms rather than direct market entry through office establishment and staff recruitment. This approach would minimize capital requirements while leveraging existing market relationships and regulatory knowledge that would be difficult to develop independently. The service diversification initiatives focused on interior design capabilities and construction management services that would enable comprehensive project delivery from initial planning through occupancy completion. These additional services would increase project value while providing competitive differentiation against traditional architectural practices. The interior design capability development required recruiting experienced professionals and establishing supplier relationships that would enable full-service space planning and furnishing coordination. This expansion would appeal to clients seeking single-source accountability for complete project delivery. The construction management services required developing project oversight capabilities and contractor relationship networks that would enable integrated project delivery with enhanced quality control and schedule coordination. This service expansion would provide additional revenue opportunities while strengthening client relationships through comprehensive project accountability. The organizational culture enhancement initiatives addressed employee development, performance recognition systems, and professional advancement opportunities that would improve talent retention while attracting exceptional candidates from competing firms. The existing culture emphasizing professional excellence provided strong foundation for implementing improvements that would enhance both employee satisfaction and operational effectiveness. The professional development program included continuing education support, industry conference participation, and advanced certification assistance that would enhance individual capabilities while strengthening the firm's collective expertise and market reputation. The investment in employee development reflected understanding that professional services organizations depend entirely on talent quality and capability advancement. The performance recognition system provided financial incentives and advancement opportunities based on individual contributions to project success and firm growth objectives. This merit-based approach would encourage exceptional performance while ensuring that talented professionals received appropriate recognition for their achievements. The advancement opportunities included expanded project leadership responsibilities and partnership track positions that would provide career development pathways for exceptional performers. These opportunities would improve retention of key talent while building internal capabilities for continued growth and expansion. The client relationship management improvements focused on systematic communication enhancement and service customization that would strengthen existing relationships while positioning the firm for additional project opportunities with current clients. The analysis revealed significant potential for expanding services to established clients through improved relationship management and proactive business development. The communication enhancement initiatives included regular project updates, strategic planning sessions, and post-completion evaluation processes that would improve client satisfaction while identifying opportunities for additional services. This systematic approach would differentiate Whitmore and Associates from competitors that provided minimal communication beyond project delivery requirements. The service customization capabilities involve developing specialized expertise in client-specific requirements and industry-focused design solutions that would enhance value delivery while creating competitive advantages in targeted market segments. This specialization would enable premium pricing while building reputation for exceptional expertise. The business development program provided systematic approaches to identifying and pursuing new client relationships while expanding services to existing clients. The program included networking protocols, proposal development processes, and presentation capabilities that would improve success rates in competitive situations. The financial management enhancements involved implementing sophisticated budgeting, systems, and performance tracking capabilities that would optimize profitability analysis while providing strategic information for decision-making. The existing financial management systems had been adequate for the firm's previous scale, but required substantial improvement to support planned growth initiatives. The budgeting system improvements included project-level profitability tracking and resource allocation optimization that would enable more accurate pricing and improved project management. These capabilities would provide competitive advantages through superior cost management and pricing accuracy. The performance tracking systems would provide comprehensive analysis of individual productivity, project profitability, and client satisfaction metrics that would support strategic decision-making while identifying opportunities for operational improvements. This information would enable continuous optimization of firm operations and strategic positioning. The strategic planning integration involved developing systematic approaches to market analysis, competitive positioning, and growth opportunity evaluation that would ensure continued strategic advancement and competitive advantage maintenance. These capabilities would provide foundation for sustained growth and market leadership development. The implementation timeline for these strategic initiatives required careful coordination to ensure that improvements occurred systematically, without disrupting ongoing project commitments or client relationships. The phased approach enabled gradual capability enhancement while maintaining operational stability during the transition period. The first phase focused on technology implementation and staff training that would provide immediate capability improvements, while building foundation for subsequent strategic initiatives. The technology advantages would be visible to clients immediately, while internal efficiency improvements would support enhanced profitability and competitive positioning. The second phase emphasized market expansion and service diversification that would build on technological and operational improvements to create new revenue opportunities and competitive differentiation. These initiatives would demonstrate the strategic vision underlying my acquisition while providing sustainable growth platform. The third phase involved advanced capability development and market leadership positioning that would establish Whitmore & Associates as the preferred architectural services provider within target markets while providing platform for continued expansion and strategic development. The comprehensive nature of these strategic improvements reflected my commitment to demonstrating that the acquisition represented beginning rather than culmination of value creation initiatives. The systematic approach would validate my business capabilities while providing sustainable competitive advantages that would ensure long-term success for all stakeholders involved in the transformation process. The transformation of Whitmore & Associates under my leadership generated measurable results that validated the strategic vision underlying my acquisition decision while establishing the firm as Connecticut's premier architectural practice. The comprehensive improvements implemented during the first year of ownership created competitive advantages that enabled successful pursuit of larger commercial projects and expanded market opportunities that had previously remained beyond the firm's capabilities. The Technology Modernization Initiative produced immediate improvements in design quality and presentation effectiveness that distinguished our proposals from traditional competitors, while enabling pursuit of institutional projects requiring advanced computational modeling and virtual reality presentation capabilities. The investment in cutting-edge design software and integrated project management systems provided technological advantages that larger corporate practices had previously monopolized within Connecticut's architectural services market. The first major project secured under new ownership involved designing a mixed-use commercial complex for Hartford's Downtown Revitalization Initiative, representing the largest single commission in the firm's 25-year history. The project required sophisticated understanding of urban planning principles, zoning optimization strategies, and sustainable design integration that demonstrated the enhanced capabilities resulting from strategic improvements and organizational development. The client selection process for this flagship project reflected recognition of our transformed competitive positioning within Connecticut's architectural community. The selection committee specifically cited our advanced design presentation, capabilities, comprehensive project management systems, and innovative approach to sustainable urban development as differentiating factors that distinguished our proposal from submissions by larger regional and national competitors. The design development process for the Downtown Hartford project provided opportunity to demonstrate the operational efficiency improvements and quality enhancement initiatives that had been implemented throughout the organization. The integration of advanced modeling software with streamlined workflow processes enabled delivery of design alternatives and technical specifications that exceeded client expectations while maintaining project timeline requirements. The project management coordination required sophisticated resource allocation and stakeholder communication that drew heavily on systems improvements and process standardization initiatives implemented during the post-acquisition transformation period. The systematic approach to project delivery demonstrated organizational maturity that positioned Whitmore and Associates for consideration by clients requiring complex project coordination and multidisciplinary technical expertise. The sustainable design components incorporated within the Hartford project reflected expertise development and certification achievements that had been prioritized during the Capability Enhancement Program. The integration of renewable energy systems, environmental impact optimization, and resource efficiency measures provided competitive differentiation while addressing growing client demand for environmentally responsible design solutions. The community engagement process required for municipal project approval provided opportunity to demonstrate enhanced communication capabilities and stakeholder relationship management that had been developed through systematic improvement initiatives. The successful navigation of regulatory requirements and public participation processes established reputation for political sophistication and community sensitivity that would prove valuable for future institutional projects. The construction, administration phase enabled demonstration of the expanded service capabilities that had been developed through strategic partnership formation and process integration initiatives. The comprehensive project oversight and quality assurance systems provided clients with enhanced accountability while generating additional revenue through expanded service delivery. The successful completion of the Hartford Downtown project generated industry recognition that established Whitmore and Associates as Connecticut's leading architectural practice for complex commercial and institutional developments. The project received awards from the American Institute of Architects and Connecticut Society of Architects, while generating significant media coverage that enhanced market reputation and competitive positioning. The geographic expansion initiatives, implemented during the second year of ownership, successfully established strategic partnerships in 3 target markets that provided access to larger client bases while diversifying revenue sources beyond Connecticut's regional economy. The partnership approach minimized capital requirements while leveraging established market relationships and regulatory expertise that would have required years to develop independently. The Massachusetts market entry involved partnership with a Boston-based architectural firm that specialized in educational and healthcare projects, but lacked the commercial development expertise that Whitmore and Associates had developed through decades of experience with office buildings, retail centers, and mixed-use developments. The complementary capabilities created comprehensive service offerings that enabled pursuit of larger and more complex projects than either firm could handle independently. The collaborative approach to market expansion required sophisticated coordination of design responsibilities, project management protocols, and client relationship management that demonstrated organizational maturity and strategic thinking capabilities. The successful execution of joint projects validated the partnership model while building foundation for continued expansion into additional geographic markets. The New York market opportunities emerged through networking relationships that had been cultivated during industry conferences and professional association activities. The connections with development companies and institutional clients created access to projects requiring Connecticut-based architectural expertise while providing exposure to more sophisticated design challenges and larger project scales. The service diversification initiatives expanded capabilities beyond traditional architectural design to encompass interior design coordination and construction management services that enabled comprehensive project delivery from initial planning through occupancy completion. These expanded services increased project value while providing competitive differentiation against architectural practices focused exclusively on design services. The interior design capability development required recruiting experienced professionals and establishing supplier relationships that enabled full-service space planning and furnishing coordination. The integration of interior design with architectural services provided clients with single-source accountability while generating additional revenue opportunities and strengthening client relationships through comprehensive service delivery. The construction management services development involved establishing oversight capabilities and contractor relationship networks that enabled integrated project delivery with enhanced quality control and schedule coordination. The expansion into construction management provided additional revenue while strengthening client relationships through comprehensive project accountability and risk management. The employee development initiatives implemented during the transformation period generated exceptional talent retention while attracting accomplished professionals from competing firms who recognized the career advancement opportunities and professional development support provided by enhanced organizational capabilities. The investment in human capital development created competitive advantages that extended beyond immediate project capabilities to encompass long-term strategic positioning. The continuing education program provided comprehensive support for professional certification advancement, industry conference participation, and specialized training that enhanced individual capabilities while strengthening the firm's collective expertise and market reputation. The systematic investment in employee development demonstrated commitment to professional excellence that distinguished organizational culture from competitors focused primarily on cost containment strategies. The performance recognition system implemented merit-based advancement opportunities and financial incentives that encouraged exceptional performance while ensuring that talented professionals received appropriate recognition for their contributions to firm success. The transparent advancement criteria and objective performance evaluation systems created organizational culture that attracted ambitious professionals while maintaining high-performance standards. The partnership track development provided career advancement pathways for exceptional performers while building internal capabilities for continued growth and strategic expansion. The systematic approach to leadership development ensured that organizational capabilities would continue expanding while providing long-term career satisfaction for key personnel. The client relationship management improvements generated substantial increases in repeat business and referral opportunities that demonstrated the value of systematic communication enhancement and service customization initiatives. The proactive approach to client satisfaction and business development created competitive advantages that were difficult for competitors to replicate through purely technical capabilities. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.